All right, let's go to the AFC. Buffalo now the 1 seed at 9-3, tied with Kansas City. Baltimore, the 3 seed at 8-4. Tennessee, 7-5 is the 4 seed. And then Cincy, Miami, and the Jets, 8-4, 8-4, 7-5 for those teams as the wild cards. Buffalo is not locked in the division, but looks pretty good. They're a game up on Miami. Actually, I guess Miami has to. Yeah, I mean, it's a dogfight. 2 games up on the Jets. What are your? I mean, we talked about Baltimore and Cincinnati. Kansas City looks more or less locked in that division, and Tennessee looks locked too. What do y'all think about the wild cards here? Because it feels like a lot closer to some chaos could happen in the AFC maybe than the NFC.
Yeah, Kansas City, they couldn't lose that game on Sunday, and they did for the third straight time to the Chiefs because now to the Bengals because now they're behind the Bills. And also, this isn't any grand proclamation, but I guarantee you they're going to rue losing to that, pile of dookie that is the Colts. I mean, they lost to the Colts, and that's going to be a huge issue. And Breech made this point, and I think it's a good one. Breech, the Chiefs aren't out of the number 1 seed conversation yet.
No, the Chiefs aren't. And real quick, you mentioned that the Chiefs.
The Broncos left twice.
I thought the Bengals was the team from Sunday that could not afford to lose. It felt to me like the Chiefs had some margin for error because right now they're just tied for the top spot. Yes, they're number 2 because of the tiebreaker, but you're still right there. If the Bengals lose that game, they're a game back in the AFC North. They are tied with the Jets for the final wild card spot. So you're a step closer to not being in. But by winning it, you put yourself in the conversation for possibly getting the number 1 seed, and you now have a comfortable 2-game lead over the 8 seed so that you're in. I felt like this was more of a must-win game for the Bengals just because it feels like the Chiefs were getting in the playoffs no matter what happens in Cincinnati. But the Bengals weren't necessarily, and their schedule's tough, and the Chiefs have the easiest remaining schedule. They're not going to lose a bunch of games down the stretch. They only play one more team that has a winning record.
By the way, the 49ers are still 9-1 to win the Super Bowl. That seems insane after you lose your quarterback. I was looking because the Bengals are down 12-1. I have interest in the Bengals. The Bucs 22-1, by the way, Wilson.
So we're all in agreement that of the 5 and 7 teams to AFC, Vegas, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Vegas is clearly the best team of that bunch in terms of having the chance.
Vegas is 2 games back of the Jets. Like that's
they all are. And even though the Vegas plays in a tough division, that doesn't matter at this point because they're not winning it. The schedule may certainly matter, but I feel like it's not even close in terms of picking them over the other 2 clown outfits to make a playoff.
All right. Well, so who of the teams that are below? Scroll down a little bit, Billy. So who are the teams that are below or 500 or worse? The Pats, Chargers, Vegas, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh. Right there. That's the limit. I mean, God knows we're not talking about Indy, but like of those 5 teams.
What about the Browns?
If you had to pick one team that you think is the best sleeper to make the playoffs of those 5 teams, who is it?
The Broncos. I'm going with Vegas.
Slap in the face.
I'm going with Vegas. The Chargers, I just can't trust them. I love the Chargers, but geez, so pizza.
Injuries are pretty bad. Coaching is not great.
Yeah, I would go with the Raiders also.
Coaching's okay. I'm not doubting.
The offensive play calling is not great. The Patriots?
Matt Patricia is a huge impediment.
That's a problem. So the Patriots have to play. Patriots have the Cardinal. God, the Patriots are in primetime next 2 weeks. Come on. At the Cardinals, at the Raiders, Bengals at home, Dolphins at home.
And that will have been 4 weeks in a row by the time that runs over.
God. Yeah.
The Patriots have a rough schedule. Close with Bengals, Dolphins, Bills.
And it's obviously with the setup where it's Bills and Chiefs are tied right now, it's very unlikely the Bills are going to be sitting their players in Week 18. And we know what they like to do to if they have a chance to knock the Patriots out of the playoffs in Week 18, Sean McDermott is going to go up top on them. Yeah, I think I would take the Raiders too.
I feel like that's pretty easy. As we sit there next week, we might feel completely differently, but based on what we just saw.
You think about the Raiders, it's like, man, you could if you just don't screw up 1 or 2 of that, what the Cardinals game where they blew the huge lead. And then
Breech went through the list of games that they somehow found ways to lose. I mean, they could have 2 losses right now, realistically, but they have 7.
Let's settle down on that.
No, Breech just went through the list of the inventive ways they found to lose football games.
I mean, they got shut out by the Saints, and stomped by the Jaguars. They lost to the Colts.
They didn't get stomped by the Jaguars. They're up by double digits.
Oh, yeah, they've given up multiple. They've come up double-digit leads. Multiple.
That's exactly the point Breech is making. If they found ways to not lose double-digit games, they could be,
10-2.
They could be in the pink as opposed to being in the white.
Yeah, I think 7-5 is reasonable instead of 10-2. But sure. All right. Anything else from the playoff picture?
No, I'm concerned that you might be right about Tomlin getting to 500 too, which is you've had quite a run on not being wrong for.
Who gets the number 1 seed? 5 seconds to make a prediction. And the AFC.
Chiefs.
Bengals.
I don't hate that. I don't
want to steal Ryan's prediction, even though I want to, and obviously in dress
I
too.
Eagles too.
But I'll say the Bills. So we all have a different guess.
Did we talk about last week about Joe Burrow's final 4 games of the season last year?
That he went off.
Yeah. Did I mention
that he's unbeatable in cold weather?
So I'm gonna just grab this real quick because I had it up the other day, but I will find it. 1 second. 2021, Joe Burrow, final 4 games that he played of the season. This is just how was it advanced? Get out of here. Hold on a second. There we go. Final 4 seasons. He sat week 18. Final 4 games. 76% completion percentage. It's a joke. 370 yards passing per game. 11 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. 10.5 yards per passing attempt. Like, if that Joe Burrow shows up for the final month-ish of the season, the Bengals, we're going to have a whole lot of Breech on our hands.
Haha.